It was a busy weekend for Texas Tech in the portal as they lose one of their key members from last season, but they land a four-star from the 2024 campaign. Plus, on the high school front, they land the commitment of maybe one of the most underrated guards in the 2025 class, and the Red Raiders are heavily linked to two of the premier players at their respective positions currently in the portal. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope y'all had a great weekend around friends and family. Lot to discuss in today's video, including, as I mentioned, Texas Tech losing a player to the portal, Texas Tech adding a player from the portal, Texas Tech adding a high school player from the 2025 class. Did Miko Marinin actually go to campus for Texas Tech? The five-star forward from the 2026 class. Then two names that Texas Tech is now linked to currently in the portal, and as I mentioned, that are pretty damn good at their respective positions. I say we just jump straight into it. How about that? Here we go. Let's start with Federico Federico. He entered the portal according to Joe Tipton of On3 Sports, and he's getting some considerable interest. We'll look at here in just a second. The 6'11 senior averaged 5.1 points, about 4.5 rebounds per game, Began his career at Pitt. I understand it. I'm not happy about it. I actually liked Fetty, but I understand it from a leverage standpoint. He's using the JUCO rule, and this will be his last year of college basketball. Now, some of the names that are going after Fetty, well, you've got a couple of big ones, and there you go, right there on your screen. You've got Auburn, who's already picked up one Red Raider, i.e. Kevin Overton from the portal. You've got the Hoosiers. You've got Chris Beard and the Ole Miss Rebels. You've got Virginia, NC State, Texas A&M. Southern Cal, Utah, and Wisconsin. So some big-time programs there going after Fetty. And this isn't a shock. It shouldn't be to anybody. I mean, there's not very many bigs that have produced. And I know some people, as I mentioned in the video talking about when he entered the portal, would say, good riddance. Oh, we don't need him anyway. He wasn't that good. I simply do not agree whatsoever. You may have unrealistic expectations for bigs in this Grant McCasland scheme, but that's the kind of big Grant McCasland and crew want. An experienced one that does his role to perfection, gets after it on the offensive glass, and can be a defensive anchor. He checked all those boxes. Now, was he perfect? By no means. But Texas Tech is going to have a hard time getting someone that is as good or better than Fetty in terms of going in and having that, well, I guess chemistry aspect of it. That's going to be damn near impossible. But there's a guy that we'll talk about at the end of this video, I should say, about, well, maybe he comes to Texas Tech. We shall see, though. Now, on a more positive front from the weekend, Texas Tech landed a commitment from the portal. You see him on your screen right there. I actually thought this was kind of cool in terms of I want to call this I don't even know what you would call this. I'm speechless at this. It's so good. Anyway, this is Josiah Moseley, the four-star from Villanova. He is a guy that I thought was terribly used. Didn't really average too much in his first season at Villanova. Less than 5 points per game, less than around 3 rebounds, right? But he was a four-star top 75 player in the class of 2024. He has heavy Texas ties. He's from the Austin area. Now he will head out to the 806, and I think he will actually be in the rotation, albeit maybe in an 8th, 9th man role in terms of the rotation, but I think he will be in the rotation and be a guy that is a serviceable Lawan Watts type backup for the Red Raiders in 2025, 2026. Now, a guy that was not ranked that Texas Tech did pick up from the high school ranks is 6'4" guard Nolan Groves. I've seen him as high as 6'5", but he was the Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year, averaged 34.2 points per game on 56% field goal percentage with 10 40-plus point games. He picked up high major offers over the past about week and a half now, most notably from, obviously, Texas Tech, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. He was previously committed to Yale. He was on campus this past weekend, and Texas Tech got the job done. I've seen some people say that he's going to get some rotation minutes. I would be surprised on that, but I like him from the standpoint of a developmental piece. And I know that that is something that is kind of finicky when it comes to modern college basketball, but I think he's got the size. It's just, hey, this competition that he played in Minnesota, how quickly is he going to be able to translate some of that production that he had there to arguably the best conference in all of college basketball in the Big 12? It's going to be difficult, but I like it in terms of the developmental piece. Obviously, the coaching staff likes him, and he is a guy that will now take up one of the scholarships for Texas Tech going into the 2025-2026 season, but I wouldn't fret about that. The Red Raiders have plenty. As it stands right now at the time of you listening to this, which is Monday, April 21st, Texas Tech has 6 open scholarships remaining. Now, I want to get on the screen here to discuss the whole Mika Murnin aspect of things, the 5-star freshman in the class of 2026. He was scheduled to visit this past weekend out to the 806. That did not happen. I heard some reports where they said he was on campus, he was enjoying it, and then they backtracked and said they had bad information or whatever it may be, right? It did not happen. In fact, if you wanted to see that it didn't happen, he was actually on Instagram literally posting that he was working out in Arizona. So he did not make the track to the 806. I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if anybody outside of the Texas Tech men's basketball facility knows why. But he did not make that visit. Maybe it gets rescheduled. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But it did not happen this past Easter weekend out in the 806 in terms of that 5-star Mika making a visit to the 806. All right, let's move on and discuss 2 names that we've discussed here on the channel this past weekend, but in case you missed it, 2 guys that Texas Tech has been linked to in the portal. We will start with the guard, Denzel Aberdine, 6'5", 195 originally from Orlando, Florida. He was on the national championship team last year for the Florida Gators. He was their 4th guard, and people will say, oh, he was the 4th guard. He didn't produce. Well, they had the best trio of guards in the country, people. Okay, they had Martin Richards and this guy named Walter Clayton Jr. And I'm not a huge fan of Walter Clayton Jr. after what he did to Texas Tech, but damn it, that's a pretty damn good trio of guards to be the 4th behind. Denzel Aberdeen is a really good player, 76 percentile catch and shoot guy. 13% assist rate, really good in terms of just, hey, spot up shooter, 90th percentile. When he gets his shoulders square, he's a really good shooter, and he's a solid pick and roll guy as well, 69th percentile in that regard. The 3 schools that have been linked to Denzel Aberdeen at the time of this recording are obviously Texas Tech. Then you've got Georgia, which makes a lot of sense considering his old coach from Florida that originally recruited him, Mike White, is now the Bulldogs head coach. They're in Athens. He's probably got to feel like one of the smallest men on the world from leaving Florida to go to Georgia. Tough scenes. Anyway, the other school in Denzel Aberdeen's recruitment at the time of this recording, again, these things are very fluid. They can change very quickly, but the 3 schools are Texas Tech, Georgia, and then Houston. I have a hard time believing Houston. I would probably say Georgia may be the favorite here just because of that connection, but Texas Tech also, I mean, it was a different coaching staff, did recruit Denzel Aberdeen at a high school. He decided to stay in the state of Florida and spend 3 years in Gainesville instead, but Texas Tech did make his top 8 during the Adams era of things out in the 806. Maybe there's something there in terms of just his familiarity, with the entire program, not just the coaching staff aspect of it. But those are the 3 schools linked to him as it stands right now. He would be a awesome addition next to Christian Anderson, and maybe the guy that I would be most excited about in terms of Texas Tech adding from a CA developmental standpoint, in the sense of I think he pairs perfectly with Christian Anderson in the starting backcourt for the Red Raiders, and is a guy that I think would seamlessly fill the Chance McMillan role, albeit in different aspects. Chance, better shooter. Denzel, better defender, more athletic, but Denzel Aberdeen is a pretty good shooter, 35% from 3 as well. All right, the big man that you need to keep your eye on, and that is linked to Texas Tech. I'll give you a second in terms of how you would pronounce that. Luke Bamboye, that's how you pronounce it, Bamboye. He is originally from London, England, 6'10", 200 pounds. Last year at VCU, okay stats. About 4 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, half an assist, but he averaged 2.1 blocks per game, averaging less than 16 or 17 minutes per game. Excuse me. His block rate is 14.9%. His O-board rate is 10.3%. And he's a really good cutter, 82nd percentile in that regard. This is the potential Fetty replacement for you guys. We talked about Fetty entering the portal and the schools that have gone after him. No surprise. Go try and get your bag, young man. I understand the leverage side of it. Would love for him to stay at Texas Tech, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So you got to pivot if you're the Red Raiders. This is one of the pivot opportunities for Texas Tech. Luke Bamboye, he's getting recruited by the likes of Grand Canyon and other schools. Actually has gone on an official visit to Grand Canyon about a week and a half ago now at this point. But he is a guy that Texas Tech has interest in, and he would seamlessly fit into that Federico role for the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the front court in 2025-2026. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. A ton happened over the weekend. Feel like, news breaks, and then it's like, okay, what's on to the next, right? But there was a lot to recap there, so let's recap it real quick before we head out of here. Federico hits the portal. He's getting high major interest offer from the likes of Wisconsin, Auburn, and other schools as well. Texas Tech lands the commitment of a 2024 four-star transferring in from Villanova in a Texas native, Round Rock, Texas, to be specific. And Josiah Moseley, he will more than likely be the backup to Lawan Watts, maybe some others as well. Then Texas Tech lands the commitment of 2025 unranked guard Nolan, the Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year. And we'll see where he goes in that regard. I like his skill set, but it'll maybe take him a little bit to insert the rotation and be a factor. Then 2026 five-star Mika Marinin. He did not visit. That was one of the big visits this weekend. It was supposed to be Groves and Mika. It did not happen. Instead, Mika did not visit the 806 for whatever reason it was. We're not entirely sure. Now, the two names that we need to pay attention to probably most, or that Texas Tech has at least been linked to in the portal, is Florida guard Denzel Aberdine, and then also VCU center Luke Bamboye. That's all we got for today's video. Ran a little long. Appreciate y'all staying patient with me. Ton of information. If you want it 100% free, just like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. It's that easy to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, over 12,000 strong. I'm telling you, it's the most interactive community. I mean, we've got daily videos on here. It's 100% free. I don't know what more you could ask for in this Texas Tech space. So again, join the Back to 12 squad today by liking the video, hitting that subscribe button, turning on that notification bell. I'm RC Maxfield, reminding you as always to stay safe and rep 'em Tech.